October 7 attacks. Over a month after the Hamas attack, the Israeli army continues to pound the Gaza Strip with airstrikes and ground offensive. Its objective: destroy Hamas. The intensified push comes as Israel marked a month since Hamas's brutal October 7 assault on communities in southern Israel. More than 1,400 people, mostly civilians, were killed when the victims were in their homes or at an outdoor music festival. At least 240 people of all ages were abducted and remain in Gaza as hostages to Hamas. Remember, Israel has appeared to pursue a two-pronged strategy in Gaza, urging civilians to head south as it carries out heavy bombing raids and a large ground offensive on the north. While the northern part of Gaza is where Hamas is thought to have an expansive network of underground tunnels, the United Nations, while facing immense backlash over failing to reach a breakthrough between Israel and Palestine, has continued to show concerns for deaths on both sides. A new UN report paints a stark picture of the devastation of the collapse of the Palestinian economy after a month of war and Israel's near-total siege of Gaza. According to the UN, the gross domestic product shrank 4% in the West Bank and Gaza just in the war's first month. It has sent over 400,000 people into poverty, an economic impact unseen in the conflicts of Syria and Ukraine or any previous war between Israel and Hamas. The entire war has taken a massive toll on civilians. First responders too have been scarred for life with the impact of this war as bodies, bombardment, death and disaster continue. Now, amid the debate between the laws of war and the tactical pauses, October 7 remains etched as a black day in world history as Israel fell prey to the terrorism of Hamas. Eli Beer is the president of the United Hatzalah, the largest emergency medical service in Israel, whose volunteers were among the first responders when Hamas attacked Israel on the morning of October 7. Eli shares his devastating experience of the horrors that Israel has faced ever since. This is a CNN News 18 exclusive. 1 month on, and the horrors of Hamas continue to haunt Israel and Gaza. As part of the first responders in Israel and the founder of the largest emergency medical service in Israel, take us through what you witnessed on October 7, because much of it has now been reduced to misinformation.
Well, we are the largest volunteer service, period, in Israel that operated in the Gaza borders.
Right.
And we saw in firsthand, in the first minutes, what was going on. October 7th is still here. We're still on the same date. October 7th for us is not over yet. We wake up every morning, but we see the same date, October 7th. That's how bad this is. Many years, I'm 35 years doing this, running into terrorist attacks of Hamas, of terrorist attacks of other groups like Jihad Islamic. These are the worst groups in the world. These are ISIS in a different name. And I've seen a lot, but what we saw on October 7th was a well-planned massacre towards babies and women and children and old people and Holocaust survivors and soldiers and every single human being living in the country, including pets. Little pets were murdered by Hamas. So this was a well-planned event.
Eli, I see this missile right behind you. Can you tell me about this missile? How did it reach your desk?
Look at this. This is a missile that... This is the missile that hits maybe 100 meters away from me. Luckily, I wasn't killed. But this missile was aimed to kill us and kill anyone around us. This is made out of a pipe that was supposed to be delivering water. But instead of making water, they take the pipes that are delivered to them and they make missiles out of it. This is a pipe. And this pipe, I brought it here and I put it to stand here next to me to remind me that I was saved by Hamas. They wanted to kill us, an ambulance. They wanted to kill the ambulance team in a city in Israel. And this is what they do all the time. They use these pipes for delivering water.
No, let that missile be a reminder, not just for you, for all of our audience. This is what the horrors of Hamas have been like. This is what terrorism can do to people. I'm glad that you and many of your team members made it. I want you to tell audiences why you've compared October 7 attack on Israel with the Holocaust.
Well, I met a Holocaust survivor. She's 92 years old. And she was kept hostage for 10 or 12 hours. Hostage by terrorists in a village called Kfar Aza, a little village, very peaceful little village in Israel. This is in Israel, not in Gaza. All this things happened in Israel. And she was hostage, and they took a whole family and they murdered her granddaughter. She was a Holocaust survivor from the Nazis in Germany. She saw her parents getting murdered by Nazis. And all of a sudden now she has to live the rest of her life, which is maybe only a few years or a few months left. She saw her own granddaughter getting murdered by a terrorist who took her granddaughter, and murdered her in front of her and purposely kept her alive so she should suffer. She was a 92. She said, why didn't they kill me? I didn't want to live. I don't want to live anymore. What I saw, this is my second Holocaust. She is a Holocaust survivor. Now she said, this is my second Holocaust that I'm going through. This is why I call it a Holocaust.
Sally, across the Arab world, Hamas is successfully selling its narrative of resistance. Is Hamas trying to humanize its terrorists through propaganda?
Well, many years ago, I went to business school, and they taught me what is the difference between a mouse and a hamster. Really, they're both the same. Why people get rid of mice and not of hamsters. And they always taught me in business school, PR. That's the difference. Hamas and ISIS are exactly the same. Hamas kill people. They kill own people. Hamas kill people every single day. But they're doing it with a PR company. They have PR people working for them, the Hamas. ISIS, when they killed people, they killed exactly the same people. Like women who are not faithful. They kill them and they behead their heads. ISIS was doing it in front of the cameras. Hamas do it a little differently. It's exactly.
Do you think there are Arab states also who are doing PR for Hamas right now?
Definitely. Arab countries, Al Jazeera, and all the rest of the Arab big networks are doing PR for Hamas. Hamas are murderers, mass murderers. They're not only planning to kill Jews, by the way. They will get to India one day. They will get to America. They will get anyone, because anyone who doesn't believe in the Muslim faith, in their belief, supposed to be dying. You don't have to believe me. You know what? Go on their website. Go on the Hamas website and read what they say, the bylaws. The same exact bylaws as Al-Qaeda, the same exact bylaws of ISIS. And this is what they're planning to do. They're starting with the Jews because it's easier for them. They live here.
Let's take a moment to deep dive into the need for tactical pauses, as has been agreed by Israel, versus the need for ceasefire. Israel believes it cannot afford a ceasefire since that will help Hamas to regroup and re-strategize. But amid this military strategy, let's also keep the humanitarian cost of Gaza in mind. Is a ceasefire imperative for Gaza in your views?
Well, definitely no ceasefire. And I'm a peaceful person. I love